What's up, buddy?
How are you, Johnny? Pleasure to
Welcome to
be.
the show. Welcome to the show.
I'm a big fan, so it's a pleasure.
Well, I appreciate that. I really do. It's funny that, you and I met uh by accident. Uh I guess it was a little over 2 years ago.
Yeah, when I was
Um
working for BRE.
yeah. I guess you were doing like some film work, right? You were recording the segment.
Yeah, I was a photog, so I was
Okay.
going out and like doing interviews and filming. And I believe at the time you had the shirt project up.
Yeah, we were doing shirts for the scene. I think it was like January of 2021.
Yeah,
You guys were doing like a follow-up story, I believe it was, for shirts for the scene, which I obviously appreciated very much. And that's how we first met. And I remember we were just talking very organically, and you were telling me about how you had some music out. And I forget what you told me it sounded like.
it was.
Um,
I believe the description I used was if the Cure and Bruce Springsteen jammed in an oil can.
okay.
Um,
So I remember I went and listened, and I wrote back to you on Facebook Messenger that you described that perfectly.
yes,
And the project is called Zoo.
yes,
It's ZEU for anyone
yes.
who's trying to search it on the streaming services or online anywhere. And it's really interesting. And I feel like you've been doing this for quite some time, and I hadn't heard of you up until that by chance meeting back in early 2021. Um, and I don't know why we didn't kind of connect uh, shortly after that because I was doing this podcast. I was a fan of your music, and it took us 2.5 years to connect here. So thanks for doing this, and I'm excited to learn more about you and what you do.
Ask me anything. I'm an open.
Well, I mean, talk about this project. It's funny. Again, I feel like I've not that this is a job, but I feel like I did poor at keeping my finger on the pulse and kind of uh informed about people in the area. You're very well respected and well liked amongst the NEPA music community. I took some notes here, and I mean, I was looking earlier today. I didn't want to do too much research because I wanted to kind of have like, uh, I wanted to kind of fact find myself, so to speak. Um, but I mean, we had, Sean Flynn. He's a part of many projects, American Buffalo Ghost. Um, Help me out here with some other ones. He's on like three or four of them.
The Broke Pines
Yep, that's new.
project. He used to be in a project called uh Those Clever. Oh, they're actually active again. Those Clever Foxes,
Yep.
Old Charades.
Old Charade, that was the other one. Okay.
Yeah,
So Sean Flynn calls you one of his best buds, and he's happy to see that you're really starting to push this project forward. Rich Howells of NEPA Scene had a nice write up about you on his platform, and he talks about how you were attending the open mic nights, the NEPA Scene Open Mic at the V Spot, and showing up every week with new songs and just a variety of stuff, and ranging from acoustic songs to these beat driven songs, and mentioned how humble you are, and I can already kind of tell that that to be true. And I think he wrote something about this being you're working on your seventh album.
yes, I have quite a lot of material out.
Yeah. So again, it's like I mean, I failed to like stay
I mean,
informed.
part of that is like my own doing. It kind of just started off as like a recording project, to be honest. And then I think right before COVID, I was trying to play out more, and then COVID happened, and everything just shut down. And then just recently, within the last like year, I started playing out more. So it's been it's been a long time coming.
Yeah. So how many albums did you put out? Just recording yourself prior to COVID.
Um, six,
Six. Wow.
yes,
There's
and
a the
I'm
guy
I'm a
Ted.
creative machine,
Okay.
and A lot of it just started again as a recording project, and I was playing with Sean, and I really didn't have enough time to kind of juggle my own thing with like what I was doing with Sean or like other people. So I just started recording myself, and then just before COVID, I just decided to start maybe trying to pursue playing it live and see how the songs would come across live. And it seems to be doing good so far. So yeah,
Well, I'm glad that COVID didn't kind of take the wind out of your sails. Like that was obviously a shitty time for everyone, right?
terrible.
Especially for musicians who, I mean, they play shows in front of people, in front of crowds, and that was not existent during that, at least that first year. Um, what can't I mean, it's funny, you're like, okay, I'm gonna start doing this, and then COVID kind of kicks you in the balls and says, no, you're not.
It
No, you're
was
not.
terrible. I remember I just moved into my current apartment, and like I was finishing the mastering of the sixth album I put out, and I was like so proud of it. Like, it was like exactly how I want it Zoo to sound. And then a week later, everything's got locked down. And yeah, here we are now.
So
See,
what did you do at that point? I mean, like, you obviously you came
I,
out on the other side.
I'm always writing, so that's why I kind of have so many albums. And I think the reason there are so many albums with this project is that it's just me, and being in a band is very challenging. It's very rewarding, but also very difficult. It's like being in a relationship with, I know you probably heard this so many times, but it's like being in a relationship with like your bandmates.
Yeah.
And everyone has to get together, practice. I'm 33, so most people in my age range have like a full-time job, maybe a wife and kids and a family, and it's just hard to get everyone together and like record, let alone recording kind of takes, it's a whole different aspect of like writing and stuff. So being that it's just me, I'm able just to kind of like hone in and just churn stuff out. And at first, the early Zoo stuff was very like beat driven. It was very like influenced by like 70s ambient music, like Bowie after he did Ziggy Stardust when he got weird, like Low, Scary Monsters, and like Brian Eno, Kid A by Radiohead. It was very influenced by that. So it was the songs I would like write them on an acoustic guitar, like a drum machine or like a keyboard, and then like just mess with them in a recording program. And honestly, I didn't know how some of that stuff would turn out live because it was like so abstract, but I recently just found a way to do it with like a sampler. So yeah.
Yeah, and like you said before, having it just be you, like every member has an opinion and a direction they might want to go. So it's like there's no one you have to like bounce ideas off of, which is kind
Yeah.
of cool, right? It's good and bad,
Yeah.
right? It's like it's cool because you don't have to answer to anybody, but it's also kind of like weird because you're not the smartest person in the room, right? It's like how do you get some that feedback back? Um but yeah, it's I mean for recording purposes, that's probably a great place to be where it's just you.
Well, I knew exactly how I wanted the songs to sound, and having been in bands throughout the years, there's always like, one or two people writing the songs or working on the music, and like everyone they want stuff to sound different. Where with me, it was like I want it to sound exactly like this, and it needs to be like this. And I would always bounce it off, like Sean. I would send my buddies the songs, and they'd give me input. But I was able just to kind of like concisely just like know exactly what I wanted with like every album. And like every album's kind of been a little evolution, like it's progressed to where it's at now. So
Yeah, and where does this sound come from? I mean, like what's I mean, do you have influences that kind of pushed you in that direction
there's
or
there's a lot. So I grew up in Mountaintop, and growing up around here in like the 2000s, I was heavily influenced by like emo, like metalcore. Like I was really into like Atreyu and Killswitch Engage and My Chemical Romance, like all the stuff, all like the like people my age like. And then I moved to New York in 2011 to go to school, and a few kids I was going to school with were into this kind of music called shoegaze, and I was aware of like the bands in that genre. Like My Bloody Valentine's probably the biggest band in that genre, And all shoegaze is if you put Smashing Pumpkins like Today and like Cherub Rock, if you just put more reverb on it, it's like just
Okay.
alternative rock with like more effects. And they were more into that kind of stuff, and I just kind of absorbed it and went down that direction. So I worked at a studio for around 2 years. I got laid off, and I was just trying to figure out stuff to do. And I just had these ideas for these songs, and no one around here was really into that kind of stuff at the time. So I just started recording, and it just kind of took off, and it just kind of evolved. You know, like everyone, your music taste kind of just evolves and changes. And if you just look at or just like listen to like snippets from like every album, um, you can just see where I was kind of going with it for pretty much every album.
Yeah, the one I listened to first was Death Masks,
Yes,
um,
that's
which I'm a huge fan of.
it's the gothy one. So I've always been influenced by, again, like shoegaze, but like all this stuff. Like there's so many bands, but it all just kind of stems back to like early English post punk, like the Cure, and then that kind of intersects with like the early goth bands like Bauhaus and all that kind of stuff. So it all just kind of goes there, and then that all those bands like glam rock. So I'm wearing like a Bowie shirt. So
Hmm.
like it's all just early English post punk, glam rock, and punk. And then I also got into like Townes Van Zandt and Bob Dylan, like they're like the singer songwritery kind of like folk stuff. So it just all kind of converged, into what that album is.
Yeah, and I couldn't remember the musicians that you kind of related yourself to, and so when I was listening back again, I heard some Bowie, obviously, and Snow Patrol. If you're familiar
Okay.
with Snow Patrol, I don't know, I don't
That's
like.
the English like indie rock post punk stuff.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah,
Uh,
but yeah,
I
it's
feel like
it's
they're
it's
very influenced by that kind of sound, like the chimey, like arpeggiated ambient kind of guitar playing.
yeah, it's cool. It's different. I mean, I would imagine that it's definitely not for everyone.
Yes.
Um,
I'm
which is fine, right? I mean, music is that's
yeah,
what's so great about music. It's for whoever wants to appreciate and enjoy it. But I mean, when you were thinking about playing out shows, and I mean, did you ever think about would there be an audience out live for
that
this type
is,
of music?
I guess, like partially what makes this project unique, and might be to my own detriment early on, because I feel the newer stuff is significantly more accessible than the early stuff. But initially, I just kind of just wanted to write music that I liked, that I wasn't hearing around here, really, and with no regards to like if people will like it or not. And then it just kind of, I just through like getting better at singing and just becoming a better songwriter, it just kind of evolved into, I guess I don't want to say more accessible, more tangible to like a
Okay.
regular audience. I mean, from people could hate it, but from what I've played out, it's gotten pretty positive feedback for the most part. So, but I again, like I would love to like be as big as I possibly can be, but at the same time, I kind of just do what I want and what I like, and if people don't like it, it's like, I like it, I'm happy. So
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's like a great part of writing and creating and things like that. It's just like it could be just for you, and if people like it, cool. If not, that's okay too. It's like just a different outlet as a creative person that you just kind of have as something that it's yours.
yes, and I feel NEPA is more of like people like a lot of hardcore. We like a lot of energetic, aggressive music. So I feel I wasn't really hearing a lot of the kind of stuff that like I was really into or influenced by around here. So why not try and throw something like that into the pot?
Yeah, be the trendsetter, lead the way. I feel like
I
you should perform at Josh Balls's place in Scranton Noir.
I would love to. That's a really cool spot.
That would be like just your music would be a great like ambiance and like a soundtrack for that kind of venue.
That's a great spot. I'm very good at like the creative aspect and like writing and recording. Like if you give me a studio, I could come out with like an album and like a single or whatever you want. But to my own detriment, I feel the networking and like playing out and like getting shows, that's like the hardest part for me.
Well, networking kind of sucks. Like in all aspects, whether it's like a business networking or it's probably better as a musician because like I think like I don't know how to say it. Like I from a business standpoint, I hate networking. I hate those mixers and the whole like business card exchanges, and I just think it's a big circle jerk. Like
It
it's always the
really
same
does.
people. It's just like
Yeah.
I don't know. It just like and I'm sure there's value, and maybe I just never like really opened myself up to it. I mean, I've been part of the stuff in the past, just kind of like it's just not for me. And maybe it's especially as I get older and more crotchety, like it just like whatever. But like as a musician, like networking is probably a little bit different in that space, just because it's like you're probably going out, you're listening to new other bands, and you're kind of like kind of finding new things on your own, and also being able to share who you are too. So it'd be a little different, but I could see where like that's like just a part of your thing where it's like this is kind of weird.
Yeah. I'm definitely more introverted, so it could be hard. You have to pretty much network very organically. Like if you come off just like you're kissing someone's ass,
Yeah.
they well, especially around here, I feel like NEP is a very real area. Like people that are like, they don't take shit.
Yeah.
So if you just if you just like come across like you're some like, I don't know, guy person just trying to get something from someone, then it's like, so it just has to happen organically. It's been getting better. So I'm happy with that. It also takes like a lot of time to do it organically. You gotta just play out and just meet people and just keep doing that. So
Is that what you've been doing? Like I was gonna ask you, like what have you been
yeah,
doing?
I started off honestly just doing the open mic because I was like screw it, I'm just gonna play out. And that was just acoustic. And then everyone started thinking I was like a country act because it was like acoustic and harmonica. It's like I write a lot of stuff on acoustic, and you know, I like doing songs like in a different interpretation, especially acoustic. Like the album as you listen to it, there's all like doodads and like reverb and shit. But it's cool just to strip it down and just like vocal and acoustic. And eventually Sean put me on the Carl Hall show. It ended up being Carl Hall's last show, unfortunately, but I just wanted to kind of show the songs off, kind of how I recorded them. So I got like a Boss sampler pedal and just threw everything on that, and then kind of uh, came up with like a live way to play the songs. So uh, that was like really my first like actual debut like on the show. And then I've since played the Bog. That was cool too. I always wanted to play that spot because it's like one of my favorite bars in the world.
Yeah, it's a great spot. I
Yeah.
think the last place I saw you was at Carl Hall. I didn't see your set, unfortunately. I got there a little bit late, but that's the last place I saw you was Carl Hall when it closed.
Yeah. That was very unfortunate because that place was so cool for the area. It was like one of the last spots for like original music regularly, you
Yeah.
know. I was very honored to play that show and very happy, but also sucks that it was closing. So
Yeah, I wish there was like another venue opening up. And maybe there is. Maybe I'm just out of touch again. But like I wish I had money to open a venue because like there's no money to be made.
yeah, like
Uh
so also I understand like even with music and art, there is a financial business aspect. Like you have to make money, like you have to keep the lights on. So I understand that. It's just I don't really know how to do the whole I'm gonna foster this scene and create like book original bands and do this and still make money. Because to like have live music and make money, it seems you need like cover bands or
right.
stuff
And
that's gonna put more asses in the seats or
a
you know,
liquor license,
yeah,
like sell
sell
booze and stuff.
sell alcohol. So like, I understand that. Like cover bands are awesome. Like if you're hanging out with your buddies or like your girlfriend or wife, and like there's a good cover band, it's great. But I think areas need like a spot for original stuff
We need
too.
a we need a rich guy or a rich girl just to come in and say, let's here's a space for people to play and enjoy, and we don't care if we don't make money. We just want to maybe just break even. That'd be cool. But yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, making money is a tough thing. I mean,
yeah. Our scene too, like there's I feel like we're known again for like the metalcore and like more pop punk stuff, but there's like a ton of just different bands.
dude, this area is so good.
Yeah, and
So good.
you just have to like find them. I think like our area too is really interesting because it almost reminds me of like now I was too young for that, but like Seattle in the 90s, it seems like a
Yeah.
lot of those bands like really just didn't give a shit about like making it or just doing anything. They just kind of wanted to do their own thing. And that kind of seems like how we are. So that's kind of cool too. You know, not everyone's like trying to be like this giant rock star. They just like want to write cool music and play shows. So
Yeah, and there's just so like I always said, this dating back. I keep saying this every episode. I feel like, back when I had a radio show, like there was just so much good music here. And I feel like right before the pandemic, we were like turning a corner where like the scene was like really on its way up, maybe at its height, maybe it was just about to like kind of break again and like just kind of take over. And obviously, COVID ruined that to an extent. But this area is so rich with just like great original artists. I always say like I would put this area up against anybody else in the country.
I think one advantage we have. So when I worked at the recording studio in New York, I asked the one engineer, he was English. And I'm like, why does England have like so many good bands? He's like, there's nothing to do. So like around here, I feel like we don't really have as much as like bigger cities. So like a lot of people just pick up an instrument and
Yeah.
like you're just hanging out, drinking beer, eating pizza or whatever, and you just write cool music. So, you know, it's like a unique thing about here. Is like we're very close to like big metropolitan areas, but like we're just farther away enough where you kind of have to have your own hobbies and stuff. So
Yeah.
people have bands or play music.
Who are some of your favorite local artists? Other than Sean, obviously.
There's just one local band, Das Black Milk. I like them a lot.
Yeah.
Um,
They've
the
been around
one,
forever.
yeah, yeah. Um, the one my friend Nate was in this band Ilya Boo. I believe he's since moved out to Los Angeles. Um, they were pretty awesome. He's in like 20 bands. Like I don't even know what bands he's in out there, honestly. He's like on his Instagram, it's like there's like a million of them. Um, I definitely like my one friend Dave. I'm just gonna name my buddies because like
That's fine.
I'll write like such good music. My friend Dave is in this band, the Apollo Quantum Vision. They're pretty awesome. I believe they should have music coming out very soon. And Sean, I really like his new project with Jeremy, the Broke Pines. It like blends like kind of like alternative rock with like alt country.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. I've been
Uh,
trying to set something up with him for months, it seems.
it could be hard with musicians. We're very flaky and aloof, you
Well, I
know.
mean, it goes back to having multiple band members because not everyone's available at 9 o'clock on a weeknight, which is when we're recording this.
Uh,
Um,
I'm gonna Fiend Star is great, and
yeah,
Rosary Guild. Will is a fantastic songwriter.
yeah, I haven't heard of that project in a long time. Rosary
I
Guild,
believe they're starting to write again, or they're it seems like they're gonna their gears are in motion for them to do something. So
that'd be sweet.
um my friend Evan is in a band. It's ZZ Loveface. He used to be in a band called the Ordinals, though. I believe you could find them on Spotify. They were pretty amazing. They're like just really good indie rock.
Dude, everything you're mentioning outside of Sean stuff and Rosary Guild, and Das Black Milk, I'd never heard it before.
Because
I
yeah,
suck. I suck.
it's not you. I feel again like I was kind of like this, like let's say someone like Sean or like he's a very like driven person where like a lot of musicians are just aloof and like you put it out there and hope people like it. And if like people don't respond, it's like but you really kind of just have to go out there and just like grab everyone by the nuts and be like this, you know?
Well, it's got to be hard too, and I think I feel like I say this all the time, but like if music now is so like it's so easily accessible, which is great, but also there's just so much to kind of consume.
Yeah, it's like clogging of the arteries.
Yeah, it's like how do you? I mean, now that you're kind of like trying to make an effort to get more recognition, what are you doing? Like, it's you can play the algorithm game on social media and things like that. Like there's obviously Spotify and Apple, iTunes and or Apple whatever. It's just like there's just so much. Like what's working for you right now?
um the NEPA Scene Open Mic is amazing. Like if anyone's in a band or a solo artist or whatever, just play there. That will get you. Like I was walking down the street and some lady just said she like recognized me from the open mic, and I was like, that's cool. So, Rich is a great guy. The V spot's great. That is just a great spot to like just get your stuff out there. Um, I've kind of taken YouTube, like I make videos for some of the songs and also cool imagery and just like this sounds kind of shallow, but looking cool, just cool pictures and stuff. So just playing out and like having a cool visual component to the project or band helps significantly. You kind of have to like get people's attention very quickly. Like,
Right, and I think in a digital world, you have to have that visual like ability to capture people. What's your YouTube channel?
Zoo of Zoo.
Okay. Zoo of Zoo.
Yeah, it's like black metal of
Okay,
OVZU.
cool. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, and I love like the like movies in like the visual aspect of as far as like music goes too. So I make uh some interesting videos to some of the songs or just like little clips or like not even release songs, just like cool like visual media kind of things.
Yeah, I feel like your music should be in a Blade soundtrack as well.
That would be cool. I love that. That's initially what I wanted to do is like score movies and stuff like that. That was kind of like a cool just idea back when I was like going to school for recording and everything.
So you went to school for recording?
I did. I went to LCC and then at the time there was really no like recording studios around here that could like employ someone. Like there's a lot of very good studios like SI, Joe Loftus, Eric Ritter, but they kind of it's like a guy
It's a
and
one
then
man show. Yeah.
so again it's very hard to like have a studio that has like a staff and everything. So I went to New York to a trade school, the Institute of Audio Research, to go to school for recording. And right out of school I got a job at it was called the Magic Shop. It's no longer there. It was one of like the last like analog studios in the city. They had like a Neve. They were primarily tape. A lot of uh famous bands recorded there. I believe I met uh Billy Joe Armstrong and Nora Jones, Zoe Deschanel, like bigger people like that would go to this place to record. So I learned a decent amount. I was a transfer engineer, and so basically I would digitize all of these old recordings. And actually from that I found out about a lot of old folk music, which like people around here like a lot now, but at the time I was like, this is just like this weird banjo. It was like 60s Greenwich Village folk kind of stuff. And I was just like digitizing that for like various clients throughout the city, along with like wrapping cables and setting up mics upstairs for the sessions and everything. And yeah, I learned a lot. And I feel it was one of the things it didn't pan out how I wanted to, but I like it was such a like a foundational change in my life, so to speak.
If it what would have if you had your way, what would have come out of that?
I would so the way traditionally you would work as like for recording, you would work at a studio like that, get hired on as an assistant, then work your way up. to basically being like a staff guy at a studio, and then a band would like be like, hey Matt, like got some really cool sounds, and they would hire you as like their own engineer, and then you would freelance and just work with various bands. There's one engineer, he's pretty big now, but I didn't really know who he was at the time. Chris Cody, he does a lot of like Beach House and like Cold Cave and all like the cool, weird 80s influence like indie bands. He was doing stuff there. But yeah, that's traditionally how you would work. And I've I came to a point where being an engineer was just as hard as being in a band or a musician. Like you would basically have to do the same stuff, and I would rather just play music, to be honest. Like I love engineering and recording, but I would rather write and play and perform.
So is that when you came back to
Yeah,
NEPA?
I came back here, and honestly, it was kind of scary because like I had no idea what I was going to do. And then I found this company I work for, Deluxe Digital. They're based in music, or they're based in California, but they have an office in music, and I've been working here ever since. It's
And
pretty
what do you
cool.
do there?
I'm a video technician, so I look at videos and basically do whatever the client or the company needs with it.
What kind of videos are you reviewing?
It's like bigger stuff for studios. Like I believe I can't really say
Okay.
like stuff specific, but
Sure. Okay.
that's for like various clients.
Okay.
Yeah, it's cool though.
I feel like I've heard of that place before.
Yeah, it's really one of the only like if you went to school for audio or video around here. So like a lot of people who are in that lane have worked there or work there.
It's kind of neat that there's a place like that, like here in
Yeah,
NEPA.
every time I tell people about it, they're like, that exists. And I'm
Yeah.
like, yes.
I
So
forget where I heard of that from. Maybe I think it's the same place, but I don't know what it was. It might have been years ago, but that's neat.
yeah. I
Well, we're
learned
happy to have you back.
I learned a lot there too for like video editing and stuff. And like when I was working for the news, like that was all those skills were learned at that company. And going in, I really didn't know a lot with video, is more with audio. So it was kind of cool to learn like a whole basically trade at like my job rather than having to go back to school for it.
Right. And how did you land at WBRE?
Um, I basically needed a second job, and I just looked and got that. That was a very cool experience. Um, like NEPA outside of music and stuff is just such like I love like old Americana, like old signs and like weird old restaurants and stuff that like don't really you don't see a lot in like bigger, more gentrified cities. And it was kind of cool just driving through. Like I got to see the whole realm of NEPA. Like I was from like Montrose down to like basically almost like Bethlehem,
Yeah.
everywhere. So with that, I was basically doing like photography, like shooting video, and then like doing basically even interviews and stuff. So it just the problem with working two jobs, they both kind of like they both kind of like want you, so to speak, and it was basically whatever one. Deluxe just was better for me, like
Right.
paid more and was just better. But BRE was it was a really cool experience.
Yeah, it's amazing like how many news outlets there are in this area. This area is such a weird
Yeah,
place, right? Like I mean, like there's still like a two newspaper town, which is like unheard of, right?
I feel like if you grew up here or you lived here and then you moved out to Hollywood and you got like a writing job, you would have like such endless like people would like pay thousands of dollars to have experiences like people have here or just like grow up here. It's like a one of the last places left like this, I feel.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know anything different. I mean, I grew up here. I was born here. I mean, I grew up in the country, I guess you could say, out in Hunlock Creek, Lake Lehman area.
Okay.
Um, I went to school out there. Like, yeah, I mean, I grew up in the country. I was never like out tipping cows and shit like that, but um,
I grew up in like New Angola, so
yeah, just like it's just it's like a weird I don't know, like I don't know anything different. Like when I go on vacation, like everything is like so cool and I appreciate all the experiences. But like when you get home, it's like this is home, and everyone talks shit on NEPA, and I get it. I mean, you watch Talkback 16, and sometimes you're like, how do I live in an area that has these kind of people? But you know, it is what it is. You know.
Like if you went to like a dive bar and then someone like that talked to you, you'd have so much material for like a stand up or like a show. Like just because like no one, I don't know, people just don't really think like not even in a bad way. Like they just come up with like very unique opinions on stuff.
Yeah, I'm not talking shit. It's just bizarre. It's just
Like
bizarre.
like if you went to like Philadelphia or like New York, these bigger cities that are like increasing, getting more gentrified and getting like newer stuff in them, like you'll find like all the most like hip bars and restaurants, but like you can't find like a really weird dive bar that has like interesting people or like good like weird, well, not weird, like good pizza or good old like just classic food that like
Yeah,
is
good
at
wings.
a restaurant that like the family's had for like 50 years. Like you really, that's becoming like less and less everywhere, but we still have a lot of places like that.
Yeah, you could still find bars you could smoke cigarettes in here.
Yes.
They're mostly VFWs, but that's
Yeah, if
funny.
you can't smoke cigarettes in it, I'm not saying it's not a good bar, but I don't smoke, but like,
Me neither.
no, it's, it takes away from the vibe.
Well, I'm gonna say it was funny. It's not funny, but when we had the fires from Canada, the smoke coming down,
Huh?
there was so many memes or people just talking about, hey, like, you're complaining about these the smoke from the Canada fires. Like, we used to we used to go to like bars and hang out in them for hours, and people just ripping cigarettes all night long,
Yeah,
which is wild.
we were fine. We were well accustomed to it.
I mean, hopefully there's not those no long-term damage, but
I'm
I'm very
also
happy that bars have gone non-smoking. It's definitely yeah.
saving you. You're gonna live a little longer, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, it just I mean like well, I mean I maybe if there wasn't like at one time there was smoking and now there's not, like you wouldn't even know. But like now that you have a choice, and there's like there's a difference. I mean, you could smoke in Burger King back in the day. I mean, there was no real like there was like a half wall divided that like divided the smoking section and the non-smoking section. And obviously, you know how smoke works. It could go up and go over. Um,
It was gross.
yeah,
I
but I mean, you could smoke on airplanes back in the day. Like I never experienced that, but like it's wild. It's wild to think about.
I remember going to like the Burger King across from like the Wyoming Valley Mall and like eating like a cheeseburger. My grandpa just like ripping cigarettes,
Yeah,
just like not thinking anything of it.
yeah. You go to restaurants, smoking or non-smoking. Like what? That sounds insane. Like
They just pen you in a little area. They're like, here you go, have at it. You
yeah,
know,
it's so insane to think about now. Like it's crazy how just time changes. Like, I don't know. You ever think about life and like uh wonder if the life that you're living is like real?
sometimes I used to think about that stuff all the time to the point where like it was like almost paralyzing, and I just kind of learned to like just tune it off a little. But sometimes definitely just feel like a dream for sure.
That's what I'm saying. Like I feel like sometimes like it's like, am I dreaming this? Like is this real? Like like if you have a dream, like you wake up before like something bad happens or before something good happens, and like, oh shit, like that was just a dream. Like what if like all this is just a dream? It's not real, or maybe you're dead, right? Maybe you're dead and everything like that's happening, like you're going through all these motions, like and like I have two kids and a wife, like, and maybe all the things that I'm experiencing are just things that like I think how my life would have played out.
Different realities, man.
Dude, it's fucking
Could be
wild.
happening. One reality we're like just really addicted to drugs and living a horrible life. The other reality, who knows? I feel like that could be possible. String theory, all that kind of
So weird.
stuff. So
It's something to think about that. Like, what if I'm just dead? This is not real.
I mean, you just spend all day thinking about that. Who really knows, to be
Who's
honest?
gonna tell you? You know?
Yeah. I mean, I think I learned so far in my life that no one really knows anything. Like no one can answer why we're here. So no, why should I listen to you, pal? You
You're
know?
right though. It's like, I mean, how did we get here? How did this I remember we just went to the Catskills on vacation and we're driving up to the house and like there's just all this like these like forests and trees on the mountains. It's like I guarantee there's spots in there that no one's ever seen before.
Totally.
Like no one's ever like set foot on that.
Well, out of all like the different species and like flora and fauna out in the world, like be very glad that like you're you and like you could have these like really abstract advanced thoughts and we're talking like we are right now, these like computers. Like can you imagine being like a bug, just like sitting there like not really knowing anything? It is kind of cool.
Yeah, sure. Well,
Could be
maybe
hard for
maybe
some people, but I learned to like appreciate it.
but how do you know they can't think? How do you know they can't feel?
I don't know. I am not a scientist or a doctor, so I don't claim to know those things.
I
But from
these
what we know,
these these spotted lanternflies, I think they're like really pretty. And like we're like
they're terrible for
kill
like
them. Yeah, yeah. They're like we gotta kill them
they
all.
fit so bad. They're everywhere. They're
They're
all
really
over.
bad.
They're like there was a bunch on my car today, and it's
Yeah,
just
I
get
went to
out of here.
the Pittston Diner with my family a couple days ago, and there was like a bunch like leading up to the steps, like dead that people killed, and then just like flying off the wall. I'm like, and I didn't know they could fly. I just tried killing one day, and like it just jumped and flew. It's like holy shit. But yeah, there's sitting on tires, sitting in the cars. It's like where is all this shit coming from? And not only that, the bigger ones that was like earlier this year. I mean, obviously they grow right, but like there were just these so many small ones, and there's still so many small ones. It's crazy.
Yeah, I remember like 2018, and they weren't here really, at least to my knowledge, they weren't. And my one buddy, he was teaching at Lehigh University, and I'd go down there hang out. We'd go for hikes and stuff. And like they were everywhere down there at the time. And he was like, "You need to kill them." And I was like, "Okay, like what do they do?" And they're like an invasive species that just like messes shit up basically. And now they're up here, so
But according to who?
apparently
Here's
environmental.
here's conspiracy theory, Johnny. According to who's telling us this?
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe they're here to save us, and we're killing them.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't
Or
know.
just the news tells us to hey, kill them all because they're bad.
We have to do it.
It's just so crazy. It's just man, life's weird.
You could go down like a rat. Like you could. There's conspiracy theories about everything.
Everything. I mean, well, we live in a world now where you can't trust anybody. You can't trust the media. You can't trust the news. Like you can't trust our government. So
Like a,
everyone's like freaking out, going like,
it's like a
"Well,
bizarro world.
yeah, it
Like
sucks."
I remember walking out of my apartment to go to the bog around right before St. Patty's Day, and that was the last time stuff was normal. And ever since then, it was just right before COVID, we just launched into like the bizarro realm. Like the news anymore, or like just any kind of article is like an onion article. It is like literally just like cartoonish and like outlandish and just weird.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just accept it. There's really nothing I can do about it. I'm just gonna try and live my life, like hang out with my friends.
Yeah, I mean,
It's out
you,
of control.
you
Like
get caught up in that. Like I was watching a movie called The Meg. I'm a huge Jason
shark
Statham
one.
fan. Yeah, the shark movie.
Okay.
Huge Statham fan. I don't know why it took me so long, but I saw that the second one came out. I'm like, oh shit, let's watch the first one. And like just the ocean, like in general, is like blows my mind. And I'm like, I wonder how much, like it's going back to the whole like forest thing, like how much of that has been unexplored. Like I
Well,
wonder how much of the ocean has been unexplored, right?
we know more about the moon than the ocean,
So I
apparently.
so I looked it up. 80%. I wanted to confirm before I even talked about it. Our oceans our oceans cover more than 70% of the Earth's surface, but over 80% of them remain unexplored.
Yeah. Uh,
80%.
we could have like an alien base down there. We could have like a Cloverfield monster.
dude.
You
And I
know?
mean, aliens are, I mean, supposedly are real.
Yeah,
I keep
like
saying I won't believe it till I see it, but even if I see it, I don't know if I'll still believe it because I mean, I've seen Independence Day. They showed an alien in that movie. Can I believe it? I don't know. I think I had to like be there in front of it, touch it, and be like, okay, this is real.
isn't like you're saying how like weird everything is. Uh Basically the government admitted aliens are real and like everyone's like, yeah, whatever. Like
Whatever.
they're like there's like so much other stuff going on that like
Yeah, but yeah. So are they announcing that now to try and distract us from something else?
could
Because you got to
be.
think about that too.
Like I could wake up this morning and like take a piss and then like a nuclear bomb's and go off and just annihilate everything. And I just be like, yeah, it was a good run. Like there's really nothing we could really do anymore, to be honest. That's kind of nihilistic, but
Yeah,
outside of like taking care of your family and being a good person, and I don't know, when it comes to like that those world events, it's like completely out of our hands anymore, really.
it is.
So,
But like every day we get closer to like those movies like 2012
oh,
and
they're almost like a reality now at this point. Like it's
but yeah,
gonna
but yeah,
happen.
it's like you get it's like is this these movies are they predicting the future? Like what's happening here?
I mean, you could say that Idiocracy,
Yeah.
the Judge one, that is seems to be more real every day. So I don't know.
Well, that's I mean, like I said, I have two kids. Like that's I mean, I feel like a frail leaf on a fucking tree blowing in the wind. Like I'm just constantly like, is the world that they're growing up in okay? Is it gonna be okay? Like, should I be scared of this? Should I be scared of that? Like, and I just throw my hands in the air and say, you know what? Just whatever happens, happens.
Yes, that's all you really could do. I feel like our parents were that way, but this time it just I don't know, it just seems weirder.
Yeah,
Um, I don't
our
know.
parents had it made. Our parents had it made. Like they, you know, we live a great. Hold on, we live in a great time, right? We're talking to each other. You're
Yes.
at your house. I'm at my house. We're talking to each other over the internet. The internet is a beautiful thing, but also the worst thing, right? It's a great time to be alive. Everything's simple, but like in that, like being simple, we're getting soft, like all this other kind of shit. Like our parents, like they had it made. Yeah, money was like they made far less money, but things cost less. But like they went to work, they came home, they were with their family. They weren't worried about what Susie was doing on social media or like having a phone in their hand trying to promote their stupid podcast that they do. Like, it's like
How old are your kids?
5 and 1.
Do you worry about like the social media stuff with them? Like
100%.
every one of my buddies who has a kid that's like they're kind of like afraid of like not afraid but like wary of like social media because it's such like MySpace was like just starting to come around when I was in high school, but now it's like in every aspect of your life. So like, I imagine growing up with that kind of stuff is definitely weird.
It's real weird. I mean, I am fortunate. I'm hoping something changes in the next 5 years before my son turns 10. I don't know. My wife and I haven't talked about it yet as far as like, obviously 10 is too young for social media, but like, how do we like the phones, right? Like you almost have to give them a phone because if they're playing sports or you want to be able to contact them or whatever, it's like, when do they get a phone? When do they not? Like, I'm hoping like the landscape is completely different when they're old enough to have to worry about that. I doubt it will be, but I'm
They
hoping.
should, make flip phones just for like kids
Dude,
in high school and like
I would go to a flip phone right now if you told me that I didn't have to like I mean, like think about work. You're so accessible for work. Like again, parents went home, their day was over.
yeah.
Over. They cooked dinner, they watched TV with their family. I'm gonna watch I just started revisiting Home Improvement, which my dad and I used to watch when I was younger. What a great fucking show that was. But it was just a simpler time.
Yeah, sometimes every Sunday I'll go home and visit my parents. We'll get like pizza and like bust each other's balls and just like hang out. And every time I tell them about like stuff, they're like horrified. They're like, they can't like that wasn't like that when we were growing up.
Yeah, back in my day,
Yeah,
I don't know, man.
different. I feel eventually soon too we're gonna get like artificial intelligence put in us. Like the
We're not
rate at
ready.
stuff, the rate at stuff is like accelerating. Like you're gonna need some kind of thing in you to kind of keep up with stuff.
We're not ready. There's no way we're ready.
I mean, I don't think we're ready either, but it just seems that's the case.
We're gonna be able to talk to each other without even opening our mouths.
There's that I saw in Dunmore, there's like a convenience store you just like walk in and like scan stuff to like check out. Like if you want like chips or like soda or something.
Yeah.
It's like I don't it's not like a chip or anything, but like event like it's like a test. And you just walk in, scan it, and like it just takes from like your Apple Pay or like your bank account. So eventually that's just gonna be like on you. It just seems like it's just the way it's going.
Yeah, well, I remember watching the movie Minority Report back in, I think it was '03 with Tom Cruise.
Uh-huh.
And like they're these big like virtual screens and they're like swiping left and swiping right. And like this is the future. And like 3 years later, the iPhone comes out. I think it was 3 years later. But like that shit was all real. Like like they'd scan your eyes and they would know who you were and shit like that. Like that's what's gonna happen.
Now it is.
Yeah.
Uh, I remember when I used to party more, I would leave work, and as soon as I got my car, my phone was like 5 minutes to the bar.
Yeah.
It was like, okay, like they know everywhere you're going. So
That's what's crazy. And the way people can advertise to you.
yeah,
I mean, I've been out of media for like almost 3 years, and stuff has advanced. Like the the way they can pinpoint ads to you,
it's
and this is just I just heard like people talking about it. It's just like it's insane. It's insane. We give up so much information having these phones and like signing up for apps and downloading apps and signing up for newsletters and emails and shit like that. Like we're just giving it away.
it's like that one South Park where the Apple with the contract, it's like no one read the terms of services when they download the app.
No one does.
Yeah, so I don't know. We're just giving up everything for convenience. I mean, I'm guilty of it. Everyone's kind of guilty of
Same.
it. Who
Same.
knows? You kind of need it, to be honest. Like even for my job, I need like for like an authenticator. Like if you didn't have a phone, I don't think you could really do half of the stuff
Right.
anymore. Or it'd be significantly harder.
Dude.
So I
There's
don't
so many
know.
there's so many benefits, but there's also like just like it's like wow, like think about if it ever gets to the point where people can just read what you're thinking or like know what you're thinking, like almost like telepathically. Like
It's gonna
I don't want people to know what I'm thinking.
Yeah, we're all gonna be part of like the singularity. Like it's just gonna happen.
But that's there's no way. Like think about things you think about through the day. Like you're walking through life, you're going to the gas, you're getting gas at a gas station. You see somebody, and you think something about them. Maybe you see a pretty girl. Maybe you see I don't know, like whatever it might be, and
It's
they
like
can like hear you or think or hear your thoughts.
it's like some like weird dystopian like sci-fi movie where like the evil like I feel like every good villain in a movie thinks they're doing the right thing, and like everyone's kind of just becoming God like in some like philosophies or whatever. It's like we're all God and we're all just experiencing these different things, but with that it's like we're just all becoming like one collective consciousness. I feel like the high up tech people like really think like that. They really think
Sure.
like this is good and you need this and you don't know it yet, but like this is what needs to happen. And we're like, I don't want my business to get like a card, like a ability to pay with credit cards, like,
Dude.
but yeah, I don't know.
Think about like if you're in a relationship and the girl says, "How many girls you been with?" and you're like, 5, but it's been like 20. It's been 30. And then they find out that you lied to them.
Yeah, it's
Everything will crumble.
right there.
The
It's just
world will
done.
crumble.
It's just done. I don't know. I think people honestly just might accept it and just not care. It's gonna be just completely different.
Well, you shouldn't care anyways. Like who, like whatever. Like you're with that person, you love them, like it's
Yeah.
fine, right? But you know now that they lied to you
Can't
20 years ago.
can't unthink that.
You know, people were married for 20 years. Like it's gonna be crazy. We're not ready. AI, dude. The photos this shit can make, and I'm
There's
going.
a Facebook group, Cursed AI. It's pretty nuts at with the AI art. It's it's almost like you can tell it's artificial, but just the fact of what it can do, like it looks like fake. It's like very plasticky, but like it's just
Right.
nuts to see
But
the
think about
stuff.
people who read headlines now. They just read the headline. They don't click on the article to like read further. I mean, the media companies are so good at the clickbait, just so they can get the clicks and the money, the ad revenue. You just show a picture of somebody doing something that's real.
I feel like the news, being how the news operates now, where it's just sensationalized nonsense. It's just they're just gonna run with that.
Who knows?
You know, like I'll be at the gym like running or something. They'll be like Fox News and CNN on, and I won't even really know which one is what, but I know if it pisses off my parents, it's Fox News, and if it pisses off my friends, it's CNN.
Right.
So I'm like, this is
But
nonsense. It's not even news anymore. This
but
is
why?
just
Yeah. But why is that? How is that okay? How did we get to this point? And it's been happening for years. This is I got in an argument with somebody on Facebook maybe 15 years ago. I was pissed. I'm like, how can our government lie to us? How can the news lie to us? How can the people that like, our peers, how can they lie to us? Like, why do I have to like research from 5, 6 different outlets to maybe get the truth when I should be getting the truth directly from a CNN or NBC or whatever it might be? Like, I shouldn't have to do that.
yeah. From working for a news station, local news is very good
Mm-hmm.
with that kind of stuff, but the bigger channels that people watch, not so much. Like the stuff they get away with is kind of like, and it's just gonna bite us in the ass in the end because like everyone hates each other now. You
Yeah.
remember when I was in high school, if someone liked Bush or liked, Al Gore, you'd be like, my friend's an asshole, but he's my buddy. So I don't know. Like, who cares? But now, like, if you like something different, so they want to like destroy everything about your life.
It's this,
Where
yeah, it's this
it's not,
tribal thing. It's like, if you're not with me, fuck you. It's
yeah,
like, when do we lose that? When do we have like, and I have a good group of friends, and like I have different groups of friends that I feel like a lot of us can have like debates, right? Where we can voice our opinion for one side or the other, and we're not going to be like, writing that person off if they feel differently about,
yeah.
something, which is great, right? But like this whole like thing where it's like, if you're not on my side, then you're the devil or you're the fucking, whatever.
It,
It's just like
the
insane.
culture war thing is that like the news and other things are perpetuating is really just driving that into the ground. And it's gonna, but I don't know. It's not good. He's like everyone hates each other now.
Yeah. We're
Oh
more we're like we're so connected, right? But we're more divided than ever before.
yeah, everyone wants to be in their own echo chamber.
And that's a
Sometimes
problem too. Yeah. It's just
you just
like
need to hear like a different opinion or like just hang out with different people that like aren't in your,
how you learn. Like,
yeah,
that's how you evolve. Is by
yeah.
hearing like and like, proven points. And I was hearing something about like, these upcoming debates where the Democrats don't want to debate or something like that. Man, I could be very wrong. I don't really remember. But like that's insane. Like you have to have I think you have to have a debate.
Yeah, I mean, with the I don't know. It's just that's the only way you could have like a democratic process is like really have the two candidates just talk about stuff, and then you really see, regardless if they follow through with it or not, like what they're
Yeah.
about. And now I don't know. It's not the thing is it happened so fast, and I think everyone's so disentrenched that they're just going to support, like, like if you watch a debate and let's say you were very conservative, but the Democratic candidate was like was way more reasonable, had better points or strategies of what they're going to do. You'd be like, oh, that's like better than this guy. But
Yeah.
now everyone's just in their lane and that's it. So
Yeah. I mean, I'm very in the middle. Like, I am not, and that's one thing too. It's like, how do we get so like, I'm on this side or I'm on this side? But I'm very in the middle, right? I see things from the left and the right. But one thing I noticed just recently, the Republican debates happened last week at some point, and I wanted to watch them. Now I'm a registered Democrat, but I wanted to watch the Republican debates, and I had like, so I guess it was like exclusive to Fox News. I don't have cable, so I could not get Fox News to watch these debates. But Trump had a I don't know how long it was, but an interview with Tucker Carlson that was aired on Twitter. So I had easier access to a Trump interview and zero access. Now, I'll say
that
zero access to the Republican debates. Now, I eventually found it. I guess it was part of Hulu. But again, so I had to. It's a service that I have to pay for. But if I didn't have the internet and I don't have that platform, how do I see it?
that should all be on like network television that everyone
Everything,
has. Yeah.
everything that should be public access. How is it not? But it's money,
Yeah.
fucking money, dude.
Yeah. It's just not good.
I don't know. I don't know how we got here in this conversation. I apologize.
It's all right. I love talking about like outlandish shit.
We're here to talk about zoo and the things that you're doing. So
And
I apologize
really,
for
really anything,
no, and that's what I love about doing this. So because we can kind of go down those paths. So I appreciate
Yeah.
you kind of entertaining the unstructured format that this is.
I listen to podcasts and yeah, I like the format of this. So anything
Yeah.
you want to talk about,
Well, I mean, you just released a new single,
Black Tongue, yeah.
Black Tongue. Talk about that. Was it like 3 weeks ago or something like that? Like within the last month?
I think a week ago,
Oh, that. Oh, jeez, I'm way off then.
around there, the 18th. So, um, yeah, that's been done for a while. I have a whole new album I'm sitting on, and I just don't really want to put it out yet because I feel like I don't have like enough people interested. Like, I don't really have dreams of like getting signed and doing all kind of shit off of it. I just would like a little more local attention. So I just been doing this single thing seems to be the way to go, to be honest.
Well, you came to the right place. I'm gonna introduce you to at least 5 more people.
Okay.
This platform will take you to 5 more people.
Leveling up. Yeah, the it's a really cool song. During COVID, before COVID, I kind of was like way more of like just I don't want to say a goon, but I was just like out all night doing a lot of weird extracurricular activities, hanging out, just just being stupid. And when COVID happened, it completely reset my life. And a lot of the new material kind of is just like a reflection on like how everyone was acting during COVID, how like people close to me are kind of not great people, and just kind of having a very like important life realization, just kind of learning more about people and their nature, the nature of like I don't know how the world acts, in times of trauma.
Yeah. Well, I mean, who thought like a life-threatening disease would like turn people against one another too?
Yeah,
Mask versus no mask, vax versus not vax, like insanity.
yeah, it was bizarro.
Yeah. But so it kind of resets you, like, and that's kind of cool, right? Like that's like, maybe
Oh,
some people needed that time. Because I mean, one cool thing, and I use the word cool loosely because none of it was cool, but like maybe a benefit, so to speak, is people kind of slowed down a bit. People
Totally.
kind of did a lot of self-reflecting. People kind of just enjoy their families more because they couldn't go do this, that, the other thing. Like that was kind of neat.
I got significantly closer with my family and my friends because of that. And it just gave me like a lot of structure and discipline and just appreciation for like people who actually cared about me and like have been in my life for a while. You know, just like I got way more into getting up early and just eating better, not drinking a lot and partying, and still like on the weekends I like will have beer and party, but like it just gave me a lot more discipline and structure. I was
Quitter,
just I
quitter,
was just stupid.
quitter.
Have to you have to, you know, just this is a weekend activity now rather than like an
Yeah.
every night kind of thing. You know, the party zone is real and sometimes it sucks you up and then you're in the party dimension. You
Yeah.
know, it is a real place. It exists.
It's sweet too.
Yeah, I mean, when you're there, it's awesome.
Yeah. When you're not, it's not.
No, once you leave,
Yeah.
it's like shit. It's like,
That like 5 hour span is pretty awesome.
yeah,
Yeah. Well, but yeah, that's good. So you kind of did some soul searching, some self reflection, and
totally.
that's good.
Yeah, like all my lyrics and songs have kind of been about like my misinterpretation of like the world around me, like what's going on in my life. And sometimes they're pretty clear, sometimes they're kind of ambiguous. Um, and sometimes they may seem clear, but they means like I try to like write stuff too in a very like ambiguous yet simple manner because I like when people just kind of listen to a song and they kind of just interpret it in their own way.
Yeah.
Hopefully they don't interpret it in like a really terrible way, but like I like when people kind of come up with their I feel like any kind of good art, you look at it and you know that dot in a painting could mean something different to you than it does to your wife or your kid or your buddy. So
That's the best part. Yeah.
yeah, it's all just interpretive. So yeah.
Very
It
cool.
does feel good to release music that like when you've been sitting on it for a while and it finally is out in the world. It is cool. And then my brother and his girlfriend, they did some really cool like artwork and uh, photos for the single. Um, all the weird ones with like the deer skull and like I'm in the woods. That they did all that. They're very good photographers. So they were like, Matt, we need some cool pictures to go along with this. So
That's
they
cool.
definitely helped. Yeah, they're very into like they're into the same kind of music. They're probably even more like I'm like I try and keep up on stuff, but they're far more and like they have their finger on the pulse more than I do anymore. So
Gotcha.
definitely helps to have like people around you that like are in tune with things, you know, as far as like doing music. I feel like that's the thing nowadays too, is like you kind of have to do everything as an artist. If you social media, you have to like
Yep.
network, you have to do video, you have to do the photography. So you kind of have to juggle all of them. And it helps to have people around you that are good at like better at you in certain aspects.
Yeah.
So
That's for sure. 100%.
yeah.
But it's August 29th right now. You just released that new single Black Tongue. What's in store for Zoo the remainder of the year?
I just trying to play more shows. I would like to play out of the area a little more, as well as here. Just trying to play as much as I possibly can. So we'll see.
Well, you've come to the right place. Like I said, you're gonna be introduced to 5 new people. They're gonna
It's like the
take you
nightmare. What is it?
they're
The Charles Dickens novel where you introduce them with the ghost.
gonna
It's
take
like,
you to 5 new people. We're gonna take you to the top, buddy.
yeah, I'm really. I just love playing, and you know, any kind of opportunity, I'll take it. So it's been going pretty good and organically and slower. Like it's been slowly building. So that I feel like that's the best way. So
It's just that's all you can do, man. Just keep be consistent, keep pushing, keep playing, keep writing, keep recording, and just keep doing it for you. And if other people enjoy it, like I said before, like on the way, that's great.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
now,
Everything I've ever done, not it's in a selfish manner, it's always just kind of been like what I wanted to hear, like how
sure,
I wanted stuff to kind of turn out. So yeah, if other people like it, that's awesome.
yeah,
If they don't, then yeah, there's like other great bands that you could listen to around here. It's not me.
sure.
Give them a chance. Check them out.
Before I let you go, favorite album. What's your favorite album?
That it kind of has changed throughout the years, but I consistently the one album that every time I put on, whether I'm driving at the gym or wherever, Raw Power by the Stooges. Like no matter what mood I'm in, like when you first listen to like a rock album, you just want to like drink a case of beer and just like break shit, like in a good way. Like that album, just like I don't know, it makes me feel like I'm like 15 again. I had heard like rock for the first time.
Raw Power by the Stooges.
Yes,
Check
they
that
have
out. Never heard it
two.
before.
They have two like big albums. Like they're one of those bands that like they've influenced like every single person in like the alternative punk genre, but they kind of never really took off when they were like a band. Um, but they put out Funhouse and Raw Power. They're two big albums, and I like Raw Power. It's just like awesome, like glam rock punk stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I have a few honorable mentions.
Okay.
Um, definitely this is an interesting one for me. The Black Album by Metallica.
Okay.
I feel that album for like a rock album, especially when I first started getting into music and playing guitar, like it was like it was very heavy yet very accessible, and like the production on it was just like awesome. Like I'll still listen to that, and it just sounds like I don't know, no album really like sounds as good as that to me still. And then Three Cheers for Sweet Revenge by My Chemical Romance.
Okay.
At heart there's like an emo kid in me. If you listen to the lyrics, you can be like, this guy
Yeah.
is a sad boy.
Yeah.
But that album definitely heavily influenced me too.
Very
And
cool.
it was one of those albums where like you listen to it and all the stuff I really like now is like the stuff they liked. It's just like when you like an artist and you like figure out what influenced them, it's like, oh, that's cool. Like I dig this as well. So, there's like a whole punk aspect, metal, and then like the whole glam. Like Gerard was really into like Bowie and like T-Rex and all that. And that's hugely influential to me as like a songwriter. So if go ahead.
I was gonna say, does your heart break that like albums like that don't exist anymore? Like, you mentioned Metallica, the Black Album. Like back in the
Yeah.
day, albums were like the shit.
Yeah, my one coworker, he remembers like going to like the release party for that
Yeah.
album came
Yeah.
out. Like that was such a big album when it came out for like just rock. I feel like rock doesn't really have that kind of like impact anymore, which I know like everyone says that, but it would be cool to see something like that just come back. Like singles are cool. Like I know I just said the single, I'm releasing just singles, but like
That's how it goes now. I mean, that's just you're playing the game. There's no.
it's just cool. Yeah, like hate the game, not the player.
Yeah.
And it's just uh it's just cool to see like an album being like of such like significant importance to like
Yeah.
an age group of people.
But the way it's recorded too, it's like tracks 1 through 10. It's kind of meant to be listened in
Yeah.
that order. Just the art inside and all that kind of stuff. It's just like it's almost like a lost art these days. It sucks.
Yeah, I remember my dad actually had that album on cassette, and when I was little, I would go through his like cassette boxes and just like look at the album art. And like that album caught my eye because Beavis and Butthead, they would wear like the Metallica and AC/DC shirts. And
Yeah.
like he had I forget what AC/DC album it was, but I put that on. I was like this does not sound like metal. It's happy. And then I put Metallica on, and it sounded like metal to me. Like Enter Sandman came on, like this sounds like heavy metal. Like it just sounds
Yeah.
like, I don't know. And ever since then, I was kind of hooked.
Well, I remember, and it's funny today in 2006, one of my favorite artists, and his name is Pete Yorn, released an album called Nightcrawler. And I remember I was dating this girl. I left her house at midnight to go to Walmart. I'm like, I can't wait till tomorrow to get this album. I need to go tonight. I hope Walmart has it because they're open 24/7. That was dumb me, like, just desperate hope, right? Because like there's no way that album would be, it wasn't like a top 40 release. But I was hoping, praying. So I was out at midnight to Walmart. Again, I didn't get it that night. I had to wait till 10 o'clock the next day. I think I got it at the local Gallery of Sound. But I mean, those moments, like I'll remember that forever. And he just posted about that today, like saying this was the, whatever anniversary it is, '06 to now is 17 years ago, I guess it is. Right?
You like remember like the coffee you had that day, or like what you did.
Yeah.
Such like it's like
Yeah.
part of your like memory forever.
So many albums that came out during my life that I remember the person I was with, um, the time of my life that was around, you know, losses in my life that I experienced when albums came out. Like those are gone.
Yeah, it's interesting too because like the algorithm on, like I've come across like really great albums on Spotify, but again, there's just so much, and like it's so unmarketed to the point where, like you just have to dig for it, or like the algorithm has to show you. So like it just doesn't have the same effect. Like I feel like there's like a lot of great music out there. It just doesn't have like, here's this album, like people are excited for it and like they're like waiting for it. You just like have to find it years after like they release it, or just like dig through the digital, like the digital realm, to like find stuff.
Yeah.
But it's out there. It doesn't have the same effect. Or it's
No.
a different
And it's
form.
just too much. It's just too much.
Yeah, like
There's
I'm pretty sure my grandpa's gonna start like a rockabilly band. Like everyone's in a band anymore.
Yeah. But
So
what are you gonna do? Tell us where you can find Zoo online.
Spotify, Apple Music, all the streaming services, Bandcamp. On Bandcamp, I believe it's Bandcamp dash ZEU underscore ZEU. Bandcamp is my favorite. I love Bandcamp, but yeah, Spotify or Apple Music or YouTube, whatever you choose
Cool.
your preferences with the streaming platforms.
Awesome.
In the Spotify, it's Zoo with the capital Z, lowercase EU.
Cool.
Spotify was interesting. So, to my knowledge, when I first created the project, there was no other Zoo. Then, uh, a French rapper used that moniker as well. So I had to go through this whole thing with like Spotify and like having my songs on my account. And it was just like you like, for anyone who out there who has Spotify or any of the streaming platforms, you have to go through like a DistroKid or like CD Baby, and like they have to do it. Like, you can't just go in there and do stuff yourself. So it's like a giant pain.
Yeah.
Yeah. So at Bandcamp is cool. You're just controlling everything, the art, however you want it to look. You could buy it.
And they do that cool thing on like what Fridays, right? Where there's no
yes, all of the when you purchase an album or single, it all goes right to the artist.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
That's sweet. Cool. Well, thanks for taking the time. It's getting late. I don't want to
No
keep
problem.
you too late, and
Been a pleasure.
I'm excited to see you out live one of these days.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I'm pretty happy with the live, the way it's interpreted live. It's pretty interesting.
So paint that picture quick before we wrap things up. Like live show of Zoo. Like what does that look like?
It's a synth bass and a drum machine with very loud guitar. and vocals. So it's significantly more rock and aggressive than the recordings. The recordings are a little more clean, but live it's just like a very like a amped up dark wavy goth kind of sound.
Nice.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah, it's just rock and roll. So
Nothing better.
yeah.
Nothing better.
I have one
Well,
last question for you, Johnny. What's your
okay.
being we're NEPA natives and pizza's in our blood, what's your go-to pizza spot?
Ah,
That's gonna be that
so
guy.
Pizza Perfect is my place.
Yeah.
I love Pizza Perfect. I grew up on Pizza Perfect. I spent my college days. My buddy lived right up the street from Pizza Perfect, so that was like the place we got pizza from all the time. So Pizza Perfect is probably one of my favorites in the area. But an honorable second or runner up or whatever you want to call it, Pizza Bella. And I say that because I know the owner very well. He's an awesome dude. And they have multiple locations throughout the area. Their chicken wing pizza is probably one of the best in the area. And their wings, I think, are probably one of my favorite wings in the area too. So Pizza
Awesome.
Bella.
It's pan fried Sicilian, right?
Pizza Perfect, yes, is pan
Yes.
fried Sicilian, yeah.
Classic.
But Bernie's, no, not Bernie's, Benny's. There's a Benny's in Peckville that
Yes.
has
I was gonna
awesome.
say I feel like out of because NEPA is such a unique pizza spot. It's such a small area, but there's so many different styles of pizza. And it's like real regional too.
Yeah,
And I feel like the mid valley, that area doesn't really get enough for like if you go up there, it's pretty much all that kind of style. Like
yeah.
whatever you would call Benny's, I call it like valley style pizza, but
I think that's
it's
kind of Sicilian,
all
isn't it?
I believe Benny's, it's like a round, but there's like a cheese blend on it. It's like Andy's. Is
Okay.
this we're talking about the same one in Peckville, Archbald?
I thought Benny's was more of a like a rectangular.
Could be thinking
Hole.
of a different one then. I'm
Maybe.
thinking about the one past Scranton and like Peckville.
I thought it was Benny's in Peckville.
I believe you know, when I would go up there and get it was like I guess you would call it like a mid valley or whatever the area is up there, like that style of pizza.
Yeah.
It's very unique though, and I feel like it doesn't get enough praise from all the pizza people around here.
Trying to find a picture here, but there's no pictures of the pizza on Benny's Peckville. Okay, well, I don't know. There's so they have a double crust steak and cheese.
Okay.
Um, the other hot wing is more of a.
Okay, when I've gotten Benny's before from that location, and I got
There's
like round. Yeah, I
there's
got that.
round. They have round two. Yeah, so
Yeah,
they have both. It
it
appears. So we're
dough
both.
is the dough is different, and like the cheese is like a blend. It's like
Yeah,
other stuff going on than just mods.
yeah. Benny's is well. JL Studios is a big supporter of Benny's in Peckville.
Okay,
That's where one of the first times I had it was at JL Studios.
I remember when he was in Wyoming, like back in the day.
Benny's?
No,
Oh,
JL.
JL.
Yeah, before he moved to, he's like by Magnum Music now up there.
Yeah, all of it, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. So cool, man. Well, I'm excited to hopefully catch a live show soon. Where's your next show at? Do you have one lined up or no?
not currently working on it.
All right, we'll get that lined up and let me know.
Okay,
I don't get out much, so you gotta give me some advance notice.
I will. I'm on a very busy schedule as well, so
Okay,
I understand.
that's good. Yeah, keep me posted. I appreciate your time.
It's a pleasure to be on here, Johnny.
I appreciate it.
I try and watch everyone I can.
I
Every time
appreciate that. That's great.
a new one pops up, I'm like really pumped to watch it because it's just art like local artists just bullshitting and it's awesome.
Yeah,
It's my
that
favorite
was the goal.
podcast.
Just to kind of have a place to talk about the music and just talk about life and where we're from and what we're going through and all that kind of shit. So
Totally.
So I lied to you. So if you're telling me that you watch everyone, I'm gonna introduce you to 4 new people because you are one of my 5.
Okay.
I have 5 listeners. One is you. So I'll introduce you to 4 new ones.
Okay.
I'm kidding. I hope I have more than 5 listeners.
I feel like you have a lot.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. I hope so. I hope people enjoy it. So
We're a tight knit area, Johnny.
we
People,
are. We gotta support each other, right?
especially in the arts, you
Yeah.
know, they know where the pulse is at.
Yeah.
So,
All right. Well, if you're listening or watching, check out Zoo, ZEU. And hopefully we'll see you sooner than later, buddy.
thanks, guys. Thank you, Johnny. It's
All
been a
right.
pleasure.
Later.